Hare Krishna, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Is my
Hare
screen?
Krishna,
Yeah,
Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Lovely to have you all back. Today we are on the 10th day of our journey of 18 days. And look forward to having a great session today as well. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjalashalakaya Chakshurum Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vande Aham Shri Guruhu Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagara Jatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Sajivam Sadavaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahaguna Lalita Shri Vishakam Pitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Krishna Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radha Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vacha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhobhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. Srila Jai Prabhupada ki Jai. So today we will look at the 10th chapter. Can you see my slide? Can you see the slide?
Yes, Mataji.
Very good. Thank you so much. So today we are going to do the Vibhuti Yoga. Vibhuti means the opulences, and yoga, as all of you know, is the association of all the Vibhutis of the Lord, and we understanding those Vibhutis and, trying to improve of our love and affection for the Lord, and thereby which will lead to devotion and bhakti, is what Vibhuti Yoga will help us to kind of, understand and take us forward in our journey in the study of Bhagavad Gita. Okay. Now this chapter, as as I said, every chapter, starts with, or at least has a bearing on the last verses of the previous chapter. In the 9th chapter, the last verse of the 9th chapter, the Lord said, he said, Manmana bhava mat bhakto madhyajimam namaskuru mami vaishyashri yukta vaivam atmanam matparayanah, which means always think of me, become my devotee, worship me, offer all your respects and obeisance to me. You will surely come to me, having absorbed yourself completely in me and taking my shelter. Okay. So bhakti is something that we need to get in. Bhakti is like it's like a flowing river. So it all depends on us. At whatever point in time, we are ready for it, we should just take the plunge and the river will just take us along. So that's the power of bhakti. Now, having done that, now Arjuna, as always, starts every chapter with his questions and also helps us to get an understanding or helps us to get a deeper meaning of bhakti, and also, which kind of helps us to deepen our appreciation and as well as, take us into the depth of jnana, which will in turn, guide us into a path of bhakti through love and affection for the Creator. So now, Krishna is the unknowable. Unknowable, you can only know him through bhakti. You can only know him, through having the jnana and also appreciating, the contents of the knowledge that is there in our scriptures, and thereby, taking those baby steps towards bhakti. And therefore, Krishna is unknowable to those, who are still nascent in their path of bhakti. But however, once we know that he is the source of all, it kind of helps us to, enhance and also kind of, strengthen our belief. That's the faith or shraddha. Now, the first 7 verses are all about, this aspect of Krishna being unknowable and that he is the source of all. The next 8 verses or 5 verses is going to be on pure bhakti, which is going to be the essence of the Bhagavad Gita. So this chapter, basically one can use an acronym SEE, which is C, which is Krishna is the source of all, Krishna is the essence of Bhagavad Gita, and Krishna is everywhere. So the next 6 verses, Arjuna accepts Krishna's supreme position. So here you'll also notice, from the first chapter to where we are today, Arjuna has been, somewhere, there is a change that has happened in Arjuna. And Arjuna has been such a good listener. And listening is one of the important aspects of learning and gaining knowledge. And Arjuna has revealed it all. And Arjuna has been the symbolism of what a good listener has to be and how listening improves and, enhances our ability to understand things better with clarity. So that's what, here we see, in all the chapters, Arjuna has been leading the discussion and has been, giving us that, the aspect of, helping us to get a deeper understanding of the messages that are there in our scriptures. And Bhagavad Gita, as you know, is the cream of all the Vedas and all the scriptures. And therefore, it is through Arjuna that we are being benefited. Now, in the final, 20 verses, the Lord describes his vibhuti. Vibhuti, as I said, means the opulences. Lord has already, given us a sense of his presence in various elements around us. And now he is going to detail out everything right from the beginning, and as well as, everything that is to hold with the creation and what happens after the creation. So the Lord is going to explain it all. He is going to bear it all to us. And we are so thankful to Arjuna. And thereby, we are able to get a better understanding of what Krishna is all about in our lives. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, what did he say? Listen again, because, he's continuously talking. So, every topic has a different idea that is being presented. And therefore, each chapter has a certain takeaway for all of us. So here he says, listen again, my dear Arjuna, because you're my dear friend. For your benefit, I shall speak to you further, giving knowledge that is better than what I've already explained. So he says, I'm going to give you more than what I have already said. And he again stresses on that you're my dear friend. So therefore, the importance of faith, Nishtha, plays a very, very important role. So unless we have the devotion, unless the devotion is accompanied with a lot of humility, and we completely surrender to the lotus feet of the Lord, this knowledge is highly going to be impossible for us to assimilate. So he directly informs Arjuna what he expects from all of us. He tells Arjuna, you're my dear friend, and therefore I'm going to tell you again, I've already said a lot of things which you have very, very, very understood very well, and therefore I'm going to tell you more things. So it is a message to us saying that this will only help us improve our understanding, or rather help us to kind of, uplift ourselves, on the path of our journey of understanding our great scriptures, only by way of listening and by way of humble submission. So in 10.2, the Lord says, Na me viduhu suraganaha prabhavam na maharshyayaha aham adirhi devanam maharshinaha sa sarvashaha. Can someone read this translation? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yes.
Neither the hosts of demigods nor the great sages know my origin or opulences, for in every respect I am the source of the demigods and sages. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mata. Hare Krishna. So he says he's the source of everything, which we have read by now. We have understood that, that how Lord makes the creation. It's through the three Purusha avatars. The three Purusha avatars are the Karanodakshaya Vishnu, who is the cause of all causes, who lies in the ocean of causes and creates all the universes. And then he rests in each of these universes as the Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. And from his Garbha is where all the living entities come through Brahma, who rests on the stem, on the lotus flower that comes out from his navel. That's why it's called the Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. Or the Brahma comes from the Hiranyagarbha of the Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. And the Garbhodakshaya Vishnu in turn takes the other Purusha avatar, which is called the Shirodakshaya Vishnu, which is the super soul in every Jivatma or every living entity, all the 840,000 species. He is present in all the 840,000 species. So in a way, the Karanodakshaya Vishnu is the super soul of all the universes. The Garbhodakshaya Vishnu is the super soul of the universe, and the Shirodakshaya Vishnu is the super soul of all the Jivatmas. Okay. He who knows me as the unborn. Okay, I'm sorry, I think I missed the point. Okay, so none of the people who have been created, as I said, there are all the functionaries that have been posted by the Lord to take care of all the Jivatmas and also take care of the Prakriti and the Jivatmas present within the Prakriti to ensure that all our wishes and desires are fulfilled. So he says here that none of these people really get to know or their origin or are aware unless, for example, it goes back to my previous example that I gave you. It is our parents who tell us who they are and how we are associated with them. So similarly, the created never gets to know who the creator is. So in the next subsequent verses, I will tell you how Brahma himself got to know who the Lord was. So I will wait for that for the subsequent verses. Okay. Someone wants to read this 10.3?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes, Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes, Mataji, go ahead. Yes, Riddhi Mataji, go ahead.
He who knows me as the unborn, as the beginningless, as the supreme Lord of all the worlds, he undiluted among men, is freed from all sins.
He who knows me as unborn, the Lord is Aja. He is Avyayam, he is beginningless, he is imperishable. And it's very, very difficult to know the Lord unless we make an effort to know him. So we need his mercy to really, be on the path of bhakti. Unless we kind of, have his mercy, it's highly unlikely that we can stay on the course of bhakti. It is said when Mata Devaki was when the Lord was in the womb of Mata Devaki, first he came, he kind of entered the heart of, he entered the heart of Mata Devaki, and then she just radiated. She was full of radiance. And then finally, when he entered her womb, she absolutely looked absolutely fabulous. And, she was completely in full effulgence. And looking at that, it seems Kamsa was completely, his fears increased. He knew that the Lord has made his presence, and he was constantly thinking of the Lord. And it is also said when the Lord was in the womb of Mata Devaki, everyone, all the demigods used to come and visit because they knew that here was the Lord with his full potency and all his energies here situated in the womb of Mata Devaki. So they would all come and visit, Devaki Mata every day. And the room would keep, they used to keep like, the lightning kind of a thing used to come because all these Devis and Devatas would keep coming because it was a good fortune to really see the Lord taking this avatar with all his full energies. So now in 10.4 and 5, it's a very, very interesting verse. Okay. And you'll be amazed to know what the different qualities, and of all these 20 qualities that are mentioned here, only I think 4 of them are really negative energies. And it really amazes as to how these negative energies can overtake the 16 other qualities that we all have. So look at these qualities. So Lord says that the qualities that each of us have is all because of his own offering. What are they? Intelligence, knowledge, freedom from doubt and delusion, forgiveness, truthfulness, control of the senses, control of the mind, happiness and distress, birth, death, fear, fearlessness, non-violence, equanimity, satisfaction, austerity, charity, fame, and infamy. He says, all these various qualities of the living beings are created by me. So which are the negative qualities here, Hare Krishna? Which are the ones which are not the happy ones?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes, tell me, which are not the happy ones here?
Mataji, distress,
Yes.
fears,
Hmm.
death,
Yes,
delusion, doubt.
delusion and doubt, okay, and even infamy, right?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, so and look at all the good other good qualities. So all these qualities are present in each of the living entities. Mind you, in every living entity, this is present. Now, in what proportion they are present is what makes us different from each other. And what is this dependent on? This is dependent on our desires and the gunas that are predominant in each of us. Okay, so in whom the 16 qualities are higher, they are predominantly represent the sattva guna. In one whom, the qualities like, things like, let's look at that, intelligence, truthfulness, control of the senses, happiness, or maybe non-violence are present. But along with that, they also kind of, for example, their desire, is more towards, on themselves, then that would be in the mode of, passion. And in whom these other 4 or 5 qualities are present in in higher proportion, they are predominantly people in the mode of ignorance. Okay. So this keep this 10.4 and 10.5 in your mind, and maybe take a note of it, 10.4 and 10.5, because we're going to be discussing it in detail in the subsequent chapters as well. So it will help us to kind of correlate them at that time. So now the Lord says, the 7 great sages, and before them the 4 other great sages and the Manus, come from me, born from my mind, and all the living beings populating the various planets descend from them. Now, who are the 7 great sages? We will look at it in the next slide. The 7 great sages are Kashyapa. Can someone wants to read as it comes up? Yes, Rajapriya Mataji, you can read the 7 great sages.
Yes, Mataji. Kashyapa, Atri, and Vashishtha, Vishwamitra. 5th one is Gautama. Then Jamadangini.
Very good.
And 7th one is
Bharadwaja. Okay. Now,
Bharadwaja.
Thank you so much. The 4 Kumaras are Sanaka, Sanatana, Sanandana, and Sanat Kumaras. Okay. Now, these are the 4 Kumaras. Who are these 7 sages? These 7 sages are the ones who are responsible for all the procreation. All the progeny that has happened in this world belongs to these 7, comes from these 7 sages. And each of us, if you know that many of us in our families, they talk of Gotra. So our Gotra, goes back, or can be, can be connected back to one of these 7 sages. So all of us invariably will fall in these 7, under the families of these 7 sages. Now, who are the the Sanat Kumaras? The Sanat Kumaras, a very interesting story about them. They all came from the mind of Brahma. Now, Brahma has been created by the Lord. That's why the Lord says they all came from my mind. The 7 sages, the Sanat Kumaras, and everyone came from my mind, because Brahma is a creation of the Lord from his mind, and therefore anything that comes out of Brahma from his mind, whether the 7 sages or the Sanat Kumaras, are also from the mind of the Lord. Right? Because each of us have our mind, and this mind is something that has been given to us by the mercy of the Lord. And therefore, Brahma, whatever he has created in his capacity, is also given, or is the offering, or is by the mercy of the Lord. Now, these 4, Sanat Kumaras were the first ones who were created by Brahma. Now, these 4 boys, they remain eternal. They are young boys of 4 years, and they always remain 4 years. And it also has a deeper meaning. The 7, the 4 Sanat Kumaras represent the 4 pillars of 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 consciousness. Now, what are they? One is truth. The second one is consciousness itself, the awareness that we have about who we are. The third one is spirituality. The last one is wisdom. Now, truth, consciousness, wisdom, and spirituality are the fundamental key components that form the character of a person. If these four things are not in a balance, then that kind of really hampers the character of a person. So the character of a person is determined by how truthful the person is, the consciousness of the person of his existence, and as well as how he must use his existence for the goodness for himself and as well as for everything else that he touches. And the third one is spirituality. Without spirituality, life becomes meaningless, or rather the life which one leads is not going to be on the path of righteousness or on the path of consciousness. And the last but not least is wisdom. Okay, so the wisdom means, what did I say? Wisdom is vijnana. Vijnana means realized knowledge, not just knowledge alone, but how do you use the knowledge in your day-to-day life is wisdom. So these four people represents the four principal pillars of a character of a person. Okay, so the Sanat Kumaras, and what it does also indicate is, Sanat Kumaras are ever young. So whenever you are highly wise, when you're truthful, your consciousness is, absolutely impeccable, and, your spirituality is unwavering, you will always remain, young at heart and mind. You will always remain with that full energy, irrespective of how the body, grows. Even at an older age, you'll find some people high on wisdom and thereby, and high on all these four aspects that I said. And therefore they exude that energy. That energy will be so infectious that we have often talked about certain people, how much values they live on, and how those values are something that we want to kind of, grab on to or hold on to. And we tell ourselves, why can't I be like that? What should I do to become like that? So the Sanat Kumaras are the representatives of those true values of character that builds a true being. Okay. So the Lord says the 7 sages and the 4 Kumaras are all his creation. Now in 10.7 he says, Etam vibhutim yogam cha mama yo vetti tatvatah so vikalpena yogena yujyate natra shamshayah. He who knows in truth this glory and power of mine engages in unalloyed devotion. Of that there is no doubt. So therefore, a deep understanding of these tattvas are very, very important. If one is unable to understand this, or one is not able to grab this, then I think it's unlikely that the person is going to really, swell up on the knowledge, or on the path of knowledge, of consciousness. Okay. So if one can just chant the holy names of the Lord, then what is the need of knowing the glories of Krishna? It is not needed at all, because the mantras themselves are Krishna, and Krishna is the mantra is the Krishna. So the Maha Mantra, therefore, the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave it to us 500 years ago, is the best marga for us to continuously have Krishna always with us as our companion. Okay. So, etam vibhutim yogam cha. This is what I just said. It seems this picture just to represent whenever Krishna and Balaram, used to step out of their palace in Dwaraka, the whole city used to just stand up, used to just sit up. People used to, used to just, rejoice. They used to just, it was celebration when they came in. They were completely glorious. They were spreading that radiance. So spirituality, truth, consciousness, and wisdom helps you to exude the same kind of a radiance, because that is what the Lord stands for. Okay. 10.8. So 10.8 to 10.11 are called the Chatushloki. The Chatushloki gives you everything about bhakti and everything about devotion. In fact, if one has to, really, go through in detail these 4 shlokas, you can probably do it over one full day. That is the level of knowledge, and that's the level of depth that these 4 shlokas contain. But anyway, just try to understand what the Chatushloki is. 10.8, the Lord says, Aham sarvasya prabhavo mataha sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam bhuda bhava samanvitaha. Can someone read this? It's a beautiful translation. Please read
Hare
this.
Krishna Mataji.
Yes, please read.
I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates for me. The wise who knows this perfectly engages in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Ma. And the source, he is the source of the spiritual world, and he's also the source of this material world. So everything is from him. We have already seen this, the three Purusha avatars and how the Lord, completely engages himself in each of those activities as in each of those Purusha avatars. And one who knows this perfectly engages. So we build our relationship. See, why do you build a relationship with somebody? You build a relationship with somebody when you know who they are and how it matches with your own taste. So similarly, if spirituality is something that is going to be something you're going to find ruchi in, taste in, you will automatically build a relationship with the Lord. How will you build the relationship? Through bhakti or devotion. 10.9. Machitta matgata prana bodhayanta parasparam katayantascha mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. Can someone read the translation? Hare Krishna. 10.9.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
The thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me. Their lives are surrendered to me, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss, enlightening one another and conversing about me. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Once someone builds a relationship with the Lord, they can never look at anything else. They will only look at things that will kind of enhance their knowledge and wisdom about the Lord and about everything that he does, and also the purpose that they have to serve, to serve the Lord, and as well as the communities and the humanity that is part of the community that comes with their own existence. So such people, they get great satisfaction by conversing about the Lord and enlightening one another to kind of lead a rich life, just as the way Prabhupada led the way for all of us. And the joy that people got out of building their relationship with bhakti and therefore to Lord Krishna is something unimaginable. So 10.10. Tesham satata yuktana bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. What does it say? To those who are constantly devoted. Now, how does the Lord help people who have that complete faith and devotion and trust in him? He says, those who are constantly devoted and worship me with love, I give them the understanding by which they can come to me alone. Again, link this back to the previous shloka that we says, Ananya Chintayanto Mame Jana Paryupasate Desham Nityabhyuktanam Yogakshemam Vahamyam. What does he say? There also he says that, look, whatever you have, I will strengthen what you have in you. I will also give you what you don't have. And he says that here, the Lord, when you make a connection with the Lord makes several more steps to make that connection deepen for you. Okay. Now 10.11. And how does he do that? How does this connection happen, and how does it deepen the devotion for us? In this verse, he says, Tesham evanukampartam aham ajnanajam tamaha nashayami atma bhavasto jnanadipena bhashvata. Out of compassion, evanukampartam. Lord is Bhaktavatsala. You just need to call him. One call of yours, he'll make him come running to you. He says, out of compassion for them, I, dwelling in their hearts, he's always in our hearts, destroy with a shining lamp. See, the material world is full of darkness, and we need the shining lamp to ensure that our knowledge of bhakti prevails over the darkness and the miseries that the material world has. Okay. So, in 10.12 and 10.13, Arjuna completely eulogizes the Lord and completely offers his respects to the Lord. And he also brings out the aspect of the parampara, the disciplic succession of knowledge flow. He says, Param Brahma, Param Dama, Pavitram, Paramam Bhavan, Purusham Shashvatam Divyam Adi Devam Ajam Vibhu, Ahustvam Rasayaha Sarve, Devarshir Naradas Tata, Asito Devalavyasayaha, Swayam Chaiva Bravishime. Arjuna said, you are the Supreme Brahman. You are the Supreme Brahman, the ultimate, the Supreme Abode, the purifier. You are the absolute truth. Pavitram Paramam Bhavan, Purusham Shashvatam Divyam. You are the eternal divine person. You are the primal God. You are Adi Devam. You are transcendental, you are original, you are unborn, you are Ajam, you are Vibhum, you are all-pervading beauty. And all the great sages, as Narada, Asita, Devala, Vyasa proclaim this of you. And now you yourself are declaring this to me. And this is the second time that Arjuna says this. In the 4th chapter, if you remember, he said, how is it? How did you get this knowledge? You and I are contemporaries. And how are you giving me this knowledge? And the second time, and after the Lord has already told him how this knowledge of the Vedas were conveyed by the Lord through the disciplic succession, Arjuna has gone a little forward. He says, I've heard all about you from Narada. Narada is the son of Brahma, and Arjuna is someone, and all the Pandava princes had some, they had great, knowledge that they got from each of the various sages and various learned people of their times. And these are the people from whom they received their knowledge. So he said, I have heard all this from all these sages who, with whom I came into contact. And now I'm hearing all this from you, oh Krishna, he says. Okay. So look at the change in bhava that is happening. And this is what happens whenever we receive knowledge, and as we turn wiser, and as we kind of keep away all kinds of ill thoughts and all kinds of ill thoughts, and ill thoughts again in turn, they kind of come out as behavior in us. When our behavior kind of improves, we automatically become a lot more calmer. We automatically become more balanced, and that kind of makes us a little more recipient to the deeper knowledge that is there in every field. Okay, and here spirituality is a vast ocean, as I said. So while you always keep in touch with other fields of knowledge that you need to have to kind of have your livelihood, also make sure spirituality is a great ocean. And as I said before, and so have the various Mahatmas have said before us, that this knowledge is so great, is so deep, that we have to continuously keep at it. Otherwise, it's unlikely that we will be able to really, relish the nectar that this knowledge gives us. So 10.14, Sarvam etadritam manye yan mam vadasi keshava nahi te bhagavan vyaktim vidur devana danavaha. Oh Krishna, I totally accept as truth all that you have told me. So finally, he's kind of, mellowing down. His fear is slowly withering away. He says, neither the gods nor demons, O Lord, though know thy personality. If all the people in the Kurukshetra, battlefield had known this, probably the outcomes of the war would have been very different, right? Or the war itself wouldn't have taken place. Indeed, you alone know yourself by your own potencies. Oh, origin of all, Lord of all beings, God of gods, oh, you supreme person, Lord of the universe. So he's completely kind of, praising the Lord, and, he's kind of, surrendering to the Lord from 10.12 to 10.15. And now he says, please tell me in detail. See, I always tell people, when your interest in a certain field increases, you want to know more and more about it. That's why people, they don't stop with a basic qualification of a graduation or a post-graduation. And people try to find ways and means, probably, their own family to fund their education, or they take loans and they go for higher studies. Why? Because they want to know more in that field. Similarly, now Arjuna is also like a good student. He says, may I know more things about you, hey Krishna? That's what he says in 10.16. In 10.17, he says, how should I meditate on you? In what various forms are you to be contemplated, O blessed Lord? Tell me again in detail, O Janardana, of your mighty potencies and glories, for I never tire of hearing your ambrosial words. Your words are so much like nectar. It is like prasadam. In a temple, when we have some prasadam, we only get a little bit. but we feel like having more because that it's so tasty. Now he is saying, what you're saying is just that, like that same ambrosial taste. I want to know more about you. And that is the power and, the power and the strength of bhakti. Once you're able to, trust me, once you're able to get hold of it, once you're able to get on to that branch of spirituality, even if you're able to touch a gentle branch of the tree of bhakti, you will never ever, you will want to completely engulf all that is there in the tree itself. So it is important for us to stay on course and try and get more and more and just find it as ambrosial as Arjuna found it for himself. Now, this is the Lord and everything comes from him, and he is the Lord of all lords, right? Oh, Janardana, again, please describe in detail your mystic power of your opulences. I am never satiated in hearing about you. For more I hear, the more I want to taste the nectar of your words. So it keeps, your thirst keeps growing. You want to know more and more. And these are the 6 Goswamis, and we need to really be thankful to them. It is because of them Vrindavan is what Vrindavan is. These are the 6 Goswamis who are all have some aristocratic background, and they were all disciples of Srimad Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They were the ones who discovered all the various temples and all the various evidences of all the pastimes of the Lord in all these places like Dwaraka and Vrindavan. And even now when you go there, all those various proofs of their and all the evidences that they collected are all present there. So whenever you all make a visit to Vrindavan, you will visit the various places of these 6 Goswamis. They're all aristocratic people, very, very rich people who kind of gave up, all their wealth for the sake of, enhancing and, engaging in spirituality and spreading the awareness of Krishna consciousness. And ISKCON completely is based on the foundation of these 6 Goswamis. Hare Krishna. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, yes, he never turns away turns away the requests of his devotees. So Arjuna, as a devotee, and as well as a friend, he says, I want to know more about you. So Krishna says, I will tell you of all my splendorous manifestations, but only of those which are prominent. O Arjuna, for my opulences are limitless. 10.19 of the Bhagavad Gita. Okay. So he says, I am the super soul, O Arjuna, seated in the hearts of all living entities as the Shirodakshaya Vishnu. I am the beginning, the middle, and end of all beings. He is the beginning, he is the middle, he is there with us when we manifest from the womb of our mothers. He is there with us throughout our life, and he also is there at the end of our life, because he is the one who has to carry us into the next, fulfill the next desire of us. So he is the beginning, he is the middle, and he's the end. Now he's going to really, talk about all who he is. He says, of the Adityas, of all the suns, it's not just one sun that is present in this cosmos. There are several suns. Of all the Adityas, I am the Vishnu. He is the Mahavishnu. Of the lights, I am the radiant sun. The light that comes out from the sun that we have, that kind of energizes us and is responsible for all the energy around us. He says that radiant sun is himself. All the maruts, all the kinds of winds that we have. There are 49 different kinds of wind. He says he's the Marichi. Marichi is the most special wind of all the winds. He says, I am the Marichi of all the winds. And among all the stars, I am the moon, because the moon shines the brightest and is the closest to the earth planet. And then he says, of all the Rudras, there are 11 Rudras, and he says, I am the Shiva. Shankara is the chief of all the Rudras. Of all the Rudras, I am the Shiva. Of the Yakshas and the Rakshasas, I am the Lord of Wealth, which is Kuvera. Of the Vasus, I am fire. He's Agni. Please remember, Agni is the one which is important for life. And as well, when the pralaya happens, it's Agni which just grows in magnitude and completely devours all of the existence. So he is the Agni in the fire. And of the mountains, I am Meru. Meru is a spiritual mountain. And it is said, if you read Vedic cosmology, it is said all the entire cosmos, all the universes revolve around the Mount Meru. Okay. And he says, of the priests, O Arjuna, know me to be the chief of Brihaspati. Brihaspati is the chief priest of the Indra, Loka. And he says, I am that Brihaspati. Of the generals, I am Kartikeya. Kartikeya Skanda, the child of Shiva and Parvati, is supposed to be the greatest of warriors. So he says, I am the Skanda, I am the Kartikeya of all the generals. I am of the water bodies, I am the ocean, the mighty ocean, and to which all the rivers join. That ocean is the Lord himself. Of the great sages, I am Bhrigu. Bhrigu's footprint is there in the heart of the Lord. He says, and Bhrigu was a great sage, was a great learned man. He says, of all the great sages, Bhrigu is worshipped or exalted by all. He says, I am Bhrigu. And of all the vibrations, the transcendental Om, he is the Om, which is what the Big Bang theory also talks about. The Big Bang theory is very, very myopic in whatever it says. Once you read Vedic cosmology, you will completely, your mind will be so enlightened that you will really find everything else that physics talks about absolutely meaningless. Of all the sacrifices, I am the chanting of the holy names, japa. The japa is Lord, and Lord is the japa. The mantras are the Lord is the mantra. Of the immovable things, I am Himalayas. Himalayas, that's why this holy land of ours is so blessed. We have the Himalayas, which kind of protects us from everything. And he says he's the Himalayas, right? Bharatavarsha is exalted, and it seems all the demigods want to get born as living entities on this holy land, because this is the holy land where every drop and everything that is present here has the essence and has the vibration of the Lord. Of all the trees, and the banyan tree, we worship the banyan tree, which is called the tree of desire. And it is under this tree all the people like Valmiki, Vyasa, Buddha, all of them got their enlightenment, to kind of get their nirvana, or to progress on the bhakti, and thereby create a whole lot of world of difference for all of us. And of all the sages among the demigods, I am Narada. Of the Gandharvas, I am Chitraratha. Gandharvas are people who are the great singers of the spiritual world. So he says, I am Chitraratha. Chitraratha is supposed to be one of the very, very melodious singer in the spiritual world. And among the perfect beings, I am Kapila. Kapila is again, Kapila is an incarnation of the Lord, and Kapila is the one who gave us a Sankhya philosophy, the jnana of the Atma. Okay. Of the weapons, I am the thunderbolt. Among the cows, I am Surabhi. Of the causes for procreation, I am Kaundarpa, the god of love. And of the serpents, I am Vasuki. Vasuki was the serpent that was used when the Mandachara churning, where the nectar was given to all the devatas. And so Vasuki was Lord himself, because imagine that snake was wound around the Mandachara mountain, and the devatas were pulling from one end, and the demons were pulling it from the other end. So the Lord was a Vasuki, he says. And the love of the god of love, Kamadeva, is Lord himself, and he is a Surabhi. That's why we worship the cow, because the cow is a life giver to all the the living entities. And of the weapons, he's a thunderbolt. And then he says, of the many hooded Nagas, I am Ananta. Ananta is the 1,000-hooded Naga on which the entire cosmos is held. Okay, and Ananta is a serpent on which Lord Mahavishnu lies in his yogic nidra, or the mystic nidra. He is avatar. Ananta also takes a lot of these avatars whenever the Lord incarnates himself. For example, he was Lakshmana in the Rama avatar, and in the Krishna avataram, he was the Balaram. And the demigod amongst the Varuna, he is the Varuna. He is the one who's the leader of all the water bodies, and as well as all the water that we need for our daily existence. And of the departed souls, is Aryama. Aryama is the head of the Pitraloka. Pitraloka is where we go after our body, after we change, when the change of body comes for a brief period, we all go to the Pitraloka until the rebirth happens. So he's the Aryama in the Pitraloka. So he takes care of us at every point in time. Look at that. And he's also death, who's Yama. Okay, this is in 10.29. Among the Daityas, I am the devoted Prahalada. Prahalada was born to Hiranyakashipu. So he says, I am the Prahalada amongst all the demons. I am the subduer. I am the time. He is Kala. Among the beasts, I am the lion. Among the birds, I am Garuda. Of all the creations, I am the beginning, the end, and also the middle. He has already said this. Oh Arjuna, of all sciences, I am the spiritual science. So if at all your ruchi for spiritual science grows, understand that it's the love of God and it's the mercy of the Lord which will help you to, which will take you further as well on this journey. And among all the logicians, I am the conclusive truth. He is Satchitanand. He is the truth. He is the absolute truth. Okay. And of the letters, all the letters, the language, the ability in the man, the intelligence in the man, of all the letters, I am the letter A. And of all the compound words, I am the dual compound. If you're able to kind of pronounce words and, make sentences out of them, we need to understand it's because of the mercy of the Lord. And look at the number of languages we have across the world. And look at the way we kind of use this communication ability of ours to kind of, transact with each other and build relationships with each other and everything. One cannot find. People can say 100 things about many things, but can people explain any of these things? So we need to understand there's much more to life. There's much more to our existence than what is revealed to us with our mundane eyes and with our limited intellect that we all have. And of all creators, I am Brahma. Okay. I am all devouring death. I am the generating principle of all that is yet to be. He's not only the past, the present, but he's also the future. Among women, I am fame, fortune, fine speech, memory, intelligence, steadfastness, and patience. Please understand, this is not women. It means the feminine, all these qualities of which are mild, which are gentle, which are happy, which are satisfying. These are all feminine qualities. And these qualities are the one which help us to kind of, really rise up in terms of our character, in terms of building our ability to kind of, ensure that we live well within the consensus framework of, of our character. Okay. So fame, fortune, fine speech, memory, intelligence, steadfastness, and patience are called the feminine qualities. And these exist in everyone, irrespective of whether one has a man's body or a woman's body. These are fine qualities is what we need to understand from this verse. Of all the hymns, I am the Samaveda, I am the Brihat Sama. Of the poetry, I am Gayatri. Of the months, I am Magarisha, Margashira, and of the seasons, and the flower-bearing spring. So the Samaveda is a very mellifluous, hymns. It has a lot of mellifluism, very sing-song way. The Brihat Sama in the Samaveda is very, very sweet and melodious. And of the poetry is the Gayatri. Many of you know the Gayatri mantra. And Margarisha, the November-December month, very auspicious because that's a month where we have the, Vaikuntha Ekadashi falling. And there's also the Mokshada Ekadashi, the day when which, the Mahabharata war began. And therefore, that's very auspicious for the Hindu, all the Hindu, worshipping people. And it's also the 9th month of the calendar year, the Hindu calendar year, and these are seasons, which is spring, the spring that comes after, which is again, brings a lot of prosperity. That's when we celebrate as a harvest season. Most of the communities celebrate the harvest season during the month of spring, the January, February time frame, right? I'm also the gambling. So please understand, while he said a lot of good things, he also says, I'm also the one that gives you the tamaguna in you, the ignorance that people have, the cheating, the gambling of all the cheats, and of the splendid so he's on both ends of the spectrum of the fallen souls and as well as the exalted souls. Okay, I am victory, I am adventure, I am the strength of the strong. Okay. Of the descendants of Vrishni, I am Vasudeva, and of the Pandavas, I am Arjuna. Of the sages, I am Vyasa, and I am the great thinkers, I am Ushasana. Ushna was the demon lord, the demon teacher. I think it was called Shukracharya. And he's of all the sages, Vyasa. Vyasa is again an incarnation of the Lord. It's a partial incarnation of the Lord for the purpose of, giving us these scriptures. Okay. And of all the Pandavas, he says Arjuna and Krishna, Naranarayana Rishi. And he is the Vasudeva among the Vrishni, his dynasty that came down upon when he took the Krishna avataram. He says, I am the Vasudeva in the Vrishni dynasty. Okay. Among all means of suppressing lawlessness, I am punishment. He not only, gives us, everything, but whenever anything wrong comes, he also punishes them equally. and of all, and those who seek victory and morality. And that's what the Kurukshetra is called the Dharmakshetra, because wherever the Lord is, there's going to be morality, and he will punish those who are lawlessness, and he will punish those people who are evil and who are cheaters. Of secret things, I am silent. Imagine, the silence is very, very important. If we can't keep our the ability to keep a secret, if it's not there, then we lose our character. We lose the trust that people will have on us. The silence that comes, the power to hold on to a secret, is also because of the grace of the Lord. And I am the wise. I am the wisdom in the wise. Okay. Furthermore, oh Arjuna, I am the generating seed of all existence. There is no being, moving or unmoving, that can exist. So nothing can exist without the Lord. He is the beginning, he is the middle, he is the end, he is the creator, and he is the one who will also annihilate everyone at the time when the annihilation has to happen. Right? Someone wants to read this 10.40. I'm sorry, I had to really rush because I wanted to cover all these verses for you. Now, can someone read this 10.40? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Come, read.
O mighty conqueror of enemies, there is no end to my divine manifestations. What I have spoken to you is but and mere indication of my infinite opulences.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yeah. So the Lord here says that what he has indicated is just a bit, just a little bit of his opulences. His opulences are very, very many, and we will see that, in the chapter where we are going to look at the universal form of the Lord. So what we have seen is just a small bit. There is more to come, is what he says. Okay. Someone wants to read this? Hare Krishna. Someone wants to read this translation? Anybody?
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Come, Snehal Prabhuji, come.
Know all your opulent, beautiful and glorious creations spring from a bud, a spark of my splendor.
Right. Yad vibhuti mat sattvam srimad urjitam eva cha tat eva vagachatvam mama tejo amsa shambhavam. It's just one amsa of mine. Why does he care? Anyone tell me why he says just one amsa of his? Huh? See, the living space that we have is only 1/4. The material world is only 1/4 of the entire creation. Remember, you saw that Goloka chart. The material world with all the 14, the spiritual, the higher planets, the middle planet, which is the earth planet, the lower planet, is only 1/4. 3/4 of it is all water. That's why he says, well, the material world that I've created is just 1/4 of my energy. The rest of the energy is something which is not there, which is unknown to us, and which is something that we need to seek out through the path of bhakti. Okay, 10.42. Atava bahunaitena kim nyatena tavarjuna vishtabhayam idam krishnam ekam shena stito jagat. Somebody read this 10.42. This is the last verse for the day. Hare Krishna.
Krishna, Mataji.
Yes, come, Prabhu.
But what need is there, Arjuna, for all this detailed knowledge? With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support this entire universe.
Exactly. So this is not a thing. He is in his yoga nidra. With just a little bit of, his energy is what he maintains, this 1/4 of this material existence, of this material energy that he creates, okay, of which we are all part of. So what is this fragment part? I just told you this fragment part is just 1/4 of his, the 1/4 of the creation is what the material world is. 3/4 is all the spiritual world. So there is some, let's get in and, we'll get into a little bit of a fun now. So the Lord said, among the Aditya, the Lord Krishna is who? Among the Adityas, among the Adityas, who is Krishna? Hare Krishna. If any of you have been following that, this would be very easy for you. Among the Adityas, Lord Krishna is? Okay, among the stars, Lord Krishna is?
Moon.
Very good. Very good. Among vibration, Lord Krishna is?
Om.
Very good. Among the trees?
Banyan
Banyan tree.
Wow. Wow. Among all the great sages?
Bhrigu Rishi.
Very good.
Yes.
Very good. So let's see how well we did for ourselves. Among the Adityas, the Lord is the sun. Okay. And then among the stars, he is the moon. Among the vibration, he is the chanting of the holy name. Among the trees, he is the banyan tree. Among the great sages, he is Bhrigu. Okay. Now, among the sage demigod, Lord Krishna is?
Shukracharya.
Yes. It could be Shukracharya or it could be even Indra. Let's see. Among the immovable things, Lord Krishna is?
Himalayas.
Yes. Among the horses? Uchashraiva. You know, that is a horse that came out of the Samudra Manthan. Among the beasts, Lord Krishna is?
Prahalada.
Very good. I think, Sage Narada. Sorry, even I went wrong there. Sage Narada. Okay. So Himalaya, Uchashraiva, and then lion. Okay. Among the Daityas, Lord Krishna is?
Prahlad.
Very good. Among the cows?
Surabhi.
Very good. Among science?
Self-realization.
The spiritual science. Remember he said? He's the Lord of the spiritual science. Among poetry?
Samaveda.
Very good. Gayatri. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Gayatri. Sorry, I went wrong. Okay. So good. Thank you so much. And I think we all did fairly well. So Krishna is unknowable and he's a source of all. That is the S. He's a source of everything. Pure bhakti is the essence of the Bhagavad Gita. If pure bhakti is what you're looking for, then Bhagavad Gita is your destination. Then Arjuna accepts Krishna as in his supreme position. Then Krishna describes his vibhuti. He's everywhere. He's in everything. Every minute thing that touches our life is what Krishna. So therefore, the acronym, just remember this acronym, SEE or C. C stands for Krishna is the source of everything. Krishna, the essence of the Bhagavad Gita is all Krishna and Bhakti. And Krishna is everywhere. Hare Krishna. So with this chapter ends. Tomorrow, we will look at the 11th chapter. Any questions? I know I had to just breeze through this because there's so much we are trying to cover for you in this chapter. And I couldn't engage with you as much as I would love to. So forgive me. I couldn't really, have that little bit of, gap in my conversation with you today. Any questions? Tomorrow we are going to see the universal form of the Lord, which is the Virata Rupa. That's a very, very nice chapter. It's very, very interesting. Any questions?
Yes, Mataji, I have one question.
Yeah.
Mataji, in this lesson, we learned that we need to have a capacity to hold a secret, right? So my question is that when we share some secret, it is no longer a secret. So what about the capacity?
No, see, a secret has to be revealed at the right time to the right person. A secret is all, what that difference between secret and a confidential matter. A confidential matter is confidential only up to a certain limit when it has to be kept confidential. A secret sometimes has to be kept for lifetime. Certain things cannot be revealed at all. Because if at all you reveal it, it can lead to chaos. So that is a secret. A secret is never revealed. A secret is never revealed. And to have that ability to keep it a secret forever until you give up your life is an ability that it's very hard, no? See, we are so used to sharing and hearing and wanting to kind of show our capacity to others as to how much we know. It's tough for human beings, right? So the ability to keep that, secret means, it also means the ability for you to hold on to things up until the right time when you can reveal it. And that is an immense capacity. It's an immense, talent. See, these are all talent. These are all qualities that he's talking about. All the feminine qualities. These are all qualities. To hold on to an information and reveal it at the right time to the right person is a quality. The ability, and that shows the ability to the extent to which someone can trust you. I am trustworthy only to the extent when I can keep an information as long as I need to keep it. Only then will you trust me. I give you a promise. And then I go back and spread the message all over, like the way what is happening today. Nothing is a secret. What happens in what happens in camera also becomes public. Whatever, is supposed to be kept, okay, even before the judgment is pronounced, the judgment is known to people outside. That is what is happening today. You see our news, you see the newspapers, you see all the things. Everything is, comes out even before the event happens. Right? And what does it lead to? It leads to chaos. It leads to so much of discontent, and sometimes it also leads to fiery words of war of words, and then there's also people get into attacking each other. Right? It just shows how weak we are all becoming day by day, and that's because we have no morals. And if we really want to strengthen, our moral and morals and ethics, unless we kind of, get on and understand spirituality and practice spirituality, we are going to be just like animals, with feeble intellect. I'm calling animals with feeble intellect because they also have some bit of intellect, and I think many of them use it better than that intellect, what they have, better than what we human beings have. We have a higher, we are supposed to be, the Uchatam among all the living entities. But we barely and rarely show that, that ability in us to be superior. Right?
Yes, Mataji.
Any other question, anybody? Thank you, Mataji, for your question. Anyone else?
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yes, Riddhi Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Mataji, I wanted to ask that you keep telling us that Dwarkadhish is so eternal and ethereal. So, Mataji, is there any way that we can meet him or see him once?
You want to see Bhagavan once? Practice. Practice spirituality, and I'm sure you will see him within yourself. He's there within us. He's there within us. And in one of the previous verses you saw, right? What is it? Vidya vinaya sampanne brahmane gavi hastini shuni chaiva shvapakecha samadarshina panditaha. So when you see everything as an equal, everything as the Paramatma, everything as an Atma, every living being as an equal. You don't see a difference between a dog and an animal, a dog and a human. When you see every human being, whether it's a beggar on the road or a rich man sitting in a palatial bungalow, when you see everyone is just an Atma of the Lord, when that feeling in yours come, understand that you have spirituality in you, and you have the Lord supporting you in your thoughts, and the Lord is there in everything that you do. That is Paramatma. That is God. That is God consciousness. And love the God. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Mataji, I wanted to ask one more question. That you told that Dwarkadhish is within us. So, Mataji, if Dwarkadhish is within us, then why do we all keep getting indulged in such kind of material affairs like drugs and all?
Yeah, so that's also because of our own past karma. We have come out with, we are not one birth, right? So that's what, I keep repeatedly saying, that very many things that we do and what we are today is not because of, very many people say, oh, genes, we all come, the gene, oh, somebody does very well in their studies, oh, it's all genes, this family has always had, a lineup of, people who have been great in academics. It's not that. Each one of us carry our own bags, and this bag is filled with our karma of the past. And because of that past karma we carry, we also kind of, do certain actions based on the past karma because of those past vasanas. Vasanas are our habits that have come from our previous lives. Very, very, very many lives of us. God knows what kind of lives, what kind of bodies we all carry. Okay, so those vasanas are present. So how do we kill those vasanas? Those vasanas can only be eradicated only when we get spiritual. And the spiritual knowledge has been there with us time immemorial. And very systematically, we have killed ourselves or deprived ourselves of this knowledge. These days, how many of us as a family sit together, read these great scriptures and try to understand and try to kind of, see what is it, what are the quality. We make big resolutions, New Year resolutions. Have we ever made resolution based on, resolution saying that let's read the Bhagavad Gita, let's read some of our scripts, let's understand the meaning of some of the mantras. Very many, even including me, I know a lot of shlokas. As a child, I was taught all of them, but I don't think I really understood what those shlokas really meant. The shlokas, every shloka, whether you start with the Mukam Karoti Vachalam, Tvameva Mata, Tvameva Bandhu, Saka, Tvameva. When you look at all of that, each one of them has a great meaning. How many of us were taught those meanings? If all our parents, just as the way they fight and they go and stand in queues and fall over each other for a registration form to get us into a good school, if there's equal amount of energy, if each of the families spend on with their children sitting on this, even if there are 3 children or 2 children in the family, at least one child will pick up knowledge. Okay, one child may or may not, but one child will definitely pick up, and that's a big achievement. Because if we need to have maximum number of spiritually oriented people in this world, because if you look at the 20 qualities that we saw, I'm just giving you another aspect. 20 qualities. There are 4 qualities which were not very good. And all of us have these 20 qualities in us. It is just that in some of us, the 16 qualities are in a higher proportion. The 4 qualities are low. Or maybe in some of us, the 4 qualities are topmost and the other 16 qualities are nowhere. So that is the reason of our behaviors. And that is the reason we forget everything. We forget who we are. We don't have this jnana of that, look, if there is a certain imbalance in this world today, why is it in the same second, there are several births that are happening. There is an insect giving birth to its offspring. Then there is a bird, laying new eggs. Then there is an animal. There's a dog giving birth to, little puppies. And then there are human beings. There is one child which is getting born in the richest of families. One child which is getting born in a middle class home. Then one child which is getting born on the roadside. And that roadside child, or maybe someone who doesn't want the child, throws the child in the garbage bin. What is the reason for it? Have you ever thought of all these things? There's a reason, no? Why all this is happening? So that itself is a big indicator that there is much more beyond what we all are, what we all see or what we all experience. How many of us have thought about that? And that is the knowledge which is there in the Bhagavad Gita, time and again is saying everyone is equal. And God is available to all at the same, in an equal frequency. It is up to him. We have to make the effort because the Lord wants to give us the independence. See, just as the way when parents send us to college and school, we don't want them to keep following us what we do, right? We want our independence. And parents also give us that independence. I don't think they have a choice. They have to. Similarly, God has created us, and He's given us that. He's given us that independence also. But He's eagerly waiting, just as the way parents, wait for their children at home. God is also eagerly waiting for us in His abode. So we have to make that effort. If someone is taking to the wrong path, it is just that they are absolutely ignorant, and if they want to make a choice, they can definitely exercise the right choice and come out of all the the bondage of the ill qualities that is killing them. Riddhi Mataji?
Yes, Mataji. Thank you.
Mataji, you can think, there is no one right way of analyzing your question. There are several ways that you can do. But Mataji, you have the right question. And I think you will get all your answers in the Bhagavad Gita. So please do continue with your studies, whatever you're studying. Please study, because that's what the Lord wants. He wants all of us to do our karma. We all have to, do our activities. We should never give up our activities. At the same time, also know that the knowledge that we study is for our, to gain our daily livelihood. But beyond that is the spiritual science, which you should never, ever, think of it being different from you. You have to kind of keep on to it, because only when you hold on to that branch will the branch be in your hand. And don't let this branch get away from you. Hold on to this branch of the tree very strongly, because all of us are like a tree. We all have a lot of desires. Despite all the other desires, hold on to this branch of spirituality. That will ensure that all the other branches of yours remain green and you're always with a great character. At the end of the day, each of us need to build that character. And the character building only happens when you study the right material and put it to use. Okay?
Yes, Mataji. Thank you.
Okay. If there are no questions, we will meet tomorrow. Hare Krishna. Yes, you have a question?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah.
Mataji, in Bhagavad Gita, it is written that we all are souls and we are not this body. So why do we feel pain when we get a cut and on our skin? Why do we feel pain relating to the body?
That's because of the awareness, because of the consciousness that you have. The consciousness is, is the one which gives you both pain and pleasure. See, if today I'm talking to you, it's because of that consciousness which is within me. The consciousness tells me who I am. This consciousness kind of also gives me the ability to do my activity. The Lord has said, Matra sprishyastu konteya. Shitokshna sukha dukkadaha. The material world has everything. It has pain and pleasure. It has heat and cold. He said, you have to bear it all. We are going to experience both of this. And while experience both of this, when we kind of maintain our balance, that's when you can really be able to, have that quality of samatvam. Samatvam means that balance in you.
Yes.
Pain and pleasure is part of life. See, this question we ask when we experience pain. But do we ask this question when we are experiencing joy? The same body, the same skin, also enjoys a nice hot water bath. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Right? It is the same consciousness which is helping you to experience that. And again, when the water is extremely hot is when you feel that it creates blisters in your body. So both pain and pleasure are part of life. Material world, that's why it's called Dukhalaya. It's a world of misery. And that's why the Lord says, I will help you out of it. I will be the shining lamp. I will break that ignorance in you so that you feel you can maintain that balance. And neither do you go high nor you go down when things are down. See, the life is like a stock market. Goes up, goes down, goes up, goes down. One who's steady is okay in both. One who uses his intellect well, neither is he going to invest so much that he's going to become a pauper, or neither is he going to invest so low that he's going to feel bad that when the stock market goes up. So you have to maintain a balance. See, some of the people who invest in the stock market, they use their brains well so that they know that high or low, they remain in a state that is unaffected. Similarly, we also need to treat our life like the stock market and ensure that we are playing our life well. Don't overindulge. When you overindulge, be rest assured that there is going to be pain after that. When people go to the pub, the first shot of the tequila gives them a high. Second shot, still high. Third shot, gone. You're already, showing your colors. You start showing your colors. Maybe third, fourth, fifth, whatever. Start showing your colors. And then you get hooked onto it. Every Saturday evening or Friday evening, you're waiting for your, pub meetings or pub dates. And then finally, what does it lead to? You become an addict. And ultimately, when people have to describe you, they call you an addict. And that affects every part of your life, whether it's your family life or your professional life or any other life. And then once you get the taste of it, what does it do? It only, it's a one big chunk of your money goes away in that. With that which can be used for good purposes goes away in this. And it also affects your health. What is that? In the beginning, it's all pleasure. After that, it's pain. Spiritual life is a little difficult at the beginning, but after that, you enjoy it, because the whole world is like, you look at the whole world with a vigor, with energy, with positivity. Spirituality gives you that positiveness. Spirituality gives you the joy. Spirituality gives you, it kind of gives you that, the kind of happiness, and as well as that, blissful state, which people will start envying. That's why the Lord in the 3rd chapter, he said, don't worry about people who are ignorant and don't know what it is. Leave them alone. But the moment they see your happiness, they say, what is the secret? How is it that you are? And another thing, not only that, this kind of a lifestyle, when you lead the lifestyle well, it also keeps you youthful. Not only youthful in your bodily form, but also in your mind and intellect. You're always high energy. You are a powerhouse of energy. See, just as the Lord, he was around 70 plus or 80 when on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Look how young. Have you seen one picture of Lord looking old anywhere? He was looking so young, it seems. So
Yes,
we can be like that eternal Lord. Because how? Because of the 4 qualities which I said that is important for our character building: truth, consciousness, spirituality, and wisdom.
Yes, Mataji.
Okay.
Mataji, I have one more question. That I have heard that people saying that going to Golok is very, very difficult because the Maya is very strong, and so they say that we cannot easily go there. So, but I want to go there, and I just don't want to take birth here again. So, what should I do?
Absolutely. Yeah, I am also with you on that. So therefore, let's kind of, follow our passion for spirituality. At the same time, please note that it doesn't mean spirituality. See, one wrong conception that most people have is they think spirituality means, not doing anything or wearing a saffron attire and becoming a monk. No. Lord himself was not a monk. No. Lord lived his life. He had a family. He had friends. Okay. And he also did his duty as a Kshatriya. He did his duty as a friend. He did his duty as a charioteer. So we must do our duty. You can be a Grihastha and be highly spiritual. Follow your passion. If cricket is your passion, follow that passion. If tennis is your passion, follow tennis. If, becoming a great scientist is your passion, become a scientist. Go to NASA. Go to ISRO. If landing on the moon is what your goal is, go land on the moon. But remember, all this is what you're doing in the material realm. And look at your higher calling, spirituality. Don't ever let that go out of your sight. That should always be in your chest. You should always wear it in your chest. It should always be there with you. Okay?
Yes, Mataji.
And the Lord himself said, Bahunam, he said, I think, there are some people, there are several kind of people, trying to attain perfection. Only one know him, and then only one knows him. And then he also says, people, who are highly spiritual, they have they go through their journey. Suppose, I have a lot of vasanas that are there. I've got my lot of karma phala that's already there on my back, and that's why where I'm here, right? If my karma phala was not very much, probably, I would have probably by now, not taken birth at all, right? So karma phala hai, isliye main yahan hu. Now is karma phala, I have to complete that. And I don't know how many more, karma I've also, gathered. We don't know, right? But he says, whatever little you do, it doesn't go waste. So obviously the spirituality that we kind of, engage in will definitely help us to kind of balance out our karma phala. And he says that you'll get a birth which will help you to advance further. And thereby your journey to Goloka becomes easier, or the long distance becomes shorter.
Yes, Mataji.
Let's try being good. Let's try, ensure to the extent possible, because some things which I say are not in your control. Don't worry about it. What is in your control, do it. But take care of yourself, and ensure that just the way you're taking care of your body, your physical body, or your physical needs, ensure you're also enriching, giving food to your spiritual self, which is what is there in the scriptures. Read the scriptures again and again. That is what will benefit you. Just unless you see, you need to hold on to something concrete, so that keeps you bound on your track of that purity that is needed for us to lead that truthful life, right? And that is needed. This is what Bhagavad Gita will help you. See, Bhagavad Gita can be just the goal, can be the means and end of everything. You don't need to look beyond. 700 verses, and if you to really, each time you read it, trust me, the understanding that you get is very different. I have done many classes, but each time, I kind of, I prepare for the classes, there's a different thought process that I have in my head. It is not the same. It kind of, you go one step above. Slowly, you're going inch by inch, you're inching above. Okay, everyone. Let's meet tomorrow. Tomorrow is a Vishwa Rupa Darshanam, which is called the Virata Rupa. So the universal form, translation in English. So we'll meet tomorrow for the chapter 11. So Hare Krishna, Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhobhya Evacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Hare Krishna, everyone. See you all tomorrow.
Hare Krishna.